How are you with being judged? Do you care what other people think? If you've ever found yourself obsessing over a comment that someone made or an interaction where you felt misunderstood or criticized, this is the video for you. I have been in the trenches with this lately. I can really speak to it. I feel like I have deserved the right to talk about it. If you're new here, hi, I'm Maggie. Welcome to my channel. I make videos on self-mastery, spirituality, living a joyful and meaningful life. And do stick around to the end because this video is full of little nuggets of wisdom that will make change in your life. So the reason I am so into this topic is because last year it came to my attention that I don't have very good mastery over my emotions. I've worked really hard on not taking things personally, and I did talk about that a couple of videos ago, and I'll leave the link up here if you want to check that out. So last year I had a situation at work and I got frustrated, I'm not going to lie, but I was holding it in. But anyway, one thing led to another and this situation escalated. And this person and I do not see eye to eye. We do not understand each other. It's like we're speaking different languages. We're just coming from completely different places. And this situation has become a problem 6 months later. It's something that I have to deal with, even now. And although that's really frustrating and annoying, I'm really grateful for the opportunity. I am grateful for the opportunity to look at where my weaknesses are, which is in my emotional mastery. When I'm overworked and get burnt out, I can get frustrated. And I've put a lot of things in place since then, boundaries in place around my work. I've reduced my working hours, etc., like a whole ton of things. So I've taken action, but this problem is still here, reminding me about emotional mastery. And I have to remind myself to be grateful for the opportunity to grow myself in this area. So I'm going to share 4 simple phrases that are absolute game changers when it comes to emotional freedom. I think what a lot of people want more than anything else in their life is inner peace, to feel peaceful within. And these 4 phrases are definitely stepping stones to inner peace. So number 1, they don't know. Have you ever said something in the heat of the moment that you regretted? Maybe you snapped at someone, at a loved one, lost your temper, or sent an angry message that you really wish that you could take back. It happens. I'm sure it's happened against you. So when someone makes a hurtful or thoughtful comment towards you, try reminding yourself of this. They don't know. What does that mean? They don't know what your life looks like. They don't know what's going on inside of you. They don't know what's happening. They don't know what it's like to walk in your shoes. They don't know what you're going through. They don't know. This isn't about being angry and judgmental, saying they don't know. It's more like being able to have empathy for them. They don't know. It's not looking down on them. It's simply acknowledging that they have a different perspective to you. If they had your exact experiences and your exact knowledge, they probably wouldn't have said or done the thing that they did. Number 2, I don't know. This is equally as powerful. I don't know. We've all done it. We've all been quick to judge other people and make thoughtless remarks. And just as other people can't really fully understand our perspective, we can't fully understand their perspective either. So when you feel the urge to say something snarky or judgmental, just remember, I don't know. I don't know what's going on for them. I don't know what their day's like. I don't know their home life. I don't know. A few years ago, there was a fantastic ad on Australian television, and it was a father with his kids, and I think they were on a train. And the kids were playing up. They were like messing around and they were being disruptive to the other passengers. And this lady was looking at the dad just like going, get it together, like look at, like control your children basically, in a bit of a snarky tone. And the father was like snapped out of his days and he was like, oh God, sorry. And it turns out he just lost his wife. Oh, it makes me emotional. He just lost his wife and his children had just lost their mother, and he hadn't explained it to them yet. So this is what was going on for him. And it was a beautiful ad to remind us, I don't know and they don't know. If you've been following along, you know that I had a pretty incredible month with a viral video that went over 4 million views, and there's now 13,000 comments, and like so much was happening with that. And I got to really practice all of this. What happens when something looks like a bit of success is people feel free to say things that they wouldn't normally say if it's less likely that you might see it or read it or whatever. And this also goes for a video that was, I've talked about this before, but there was also a review video made about me where someone was breaking down my video, and there's a whole bunch of views and comments about that, about whether or not I had children, on my relationship, and saying things like I looked 60, and like actually said in the comments, okay boomer, which actually made me laugh because my dad's a boomer. So I'm not a boomer, I'm not 80, but it's just funny. And I just constantly came back to don't take it personally and they don't know. Number 3, taking offense is optional. This is a super powerful concept. It is our choice to get offended. I recently saw a host of a television show, which I'm not going to name, it's not worth it, but she was saying, I'm offended. She kept saying, I'm offended. And I was like, wow. She was so upset and getting so irate, taking personal offense. And I was thinking, that's just so common these days. How quickly people get offended or feel righteous in being offended. A casual comment, a throwaway comment, or someone forgetting to include you in something, or a poorly worded email, or whatever it is, all of a sudden that thing can ruin your day when you choose to be offended. I'm not saying that people aren't intentionally mean sometimes, that's a different thing, but still, it's up to you whether you want to choose to be offended by it. I like this example of being in traffic because this, we can all relate to this one. Like there was a time, and sometimes it still happens if I go unconscious, that I'm personally offended if someone cuts me off or won't let me in when merging, or they, behave badly on the roads, but it's in direct relation to me and my car. This person doesn't know me. They don't know that I'm in the car. They're not like, oh, Maggie's in that car. I'm not gonna let her in. I'm gonna run her into the next lane. They don't know that it's me, and yet I'm taking it personal. It's like they're targeting me specifically. It actually just says everything about them and the kind of day they're having. It's nothing to do with me and nothing to do with you, because I'm sure you know what I'm talking about. I hope you do anyway. Being offended is exhausting, and I like the metaphor that I use for judgment as well. It's like carrying around a backpack full of rocks. It just weighs you down. And most importantly, it's optional. There really is incredible power in personal restraint. And this is something that I am choosing to lean into more and more. It's been tricky because I'm a very impulsive person. I've come from all or nothing impulsive, action sorted out now kind of thing, but it's not always wise, especially when it comes to injustice. I really want to defend myself and sort it out. But there really is something to be said for someone that can have personal restraint. In Taoism, there's a wonderful teaching that before we respond, we should ask ourselves 3 questions. Is it true? Is it kind? Is it necessary? Only when something meets all 3 criteria should it be expressed. I know I personally fall short of this all the time. Something to strive for. One of my teachers talks about not giving people ammunition. Even if you're right, if you respond hastily, your quick retort or emotional reaction can be used against you later on, painting you as being unreasonable and defensive. And that's exactly what happened in my work example. I had an emotional response to something that I perceived as a great injustice, and now it's dragging on. Whereas if I could have just assessed the situation and gone, okay, this battle is not worth it, I just need to move on, I wouldn't be in the situation I am today. I gave him ammunition against me, and now I'm still dealing with it several months later. Still grateful for it. Speaking of gratitude, my 5-day Magic of Gratitude challenge is coming up shortly, March 31st to April 4th. Link is in the description. It's completely free. There are also other options to work with me more closely, but this is going to be just a wonderful, wonderful challenge. No matter what you're dealing with in your life right now, this challenge will definitely have a positive impact on you. Hope you'll join us. Number 4, it's okay to be misunderstood. We have a very deep human desire to be seen, known, and understood correctly. When someone misinterprets our words or actions, it can actually be physically painful. I've got such a history with this one. I used to tie myself in knots, oh, I hope they didn't think I meant this, or I hope they didn't think I meant that. And eventually you just have to go, they think what they think. If there's an issue, hopefully they'll bring it up with me. But the idea that someone thought that I meant harm or the wrong thing was just torturous. That comes along with the people pleasing, but that's another video for another day. We can't do it all at once. If people who we live with, who love us deeply, can misinterpret us and misunderstand us, what do you think strangers on the street are going to do, and people on the internet? Of course they're going to misunderstand you, and we're going to misunderstand them. And that's completely okay. One of my teachers often says, what he says and what we hear are 2 completely different things. When you accept that being misunderstood is part of the human condition, not a personal failure or crisis, you free yourself from the exhausting task of trying to control everyone's perceptions of you. You've got to give that up. I'm giving that up. It doesn't mean that you don't ever clarify or explain yourself, but you just do it selectively when it matters. So there are so many benefits to this change in mindset. First, it gives you your power back. If you're easily offended, you are just handing people control of your emotional state. You're essentially saying, your actions control how I feel today. No one should have that power over you. If you're not busy defending yourself against perceived attacks, you can actually listen to what the other person is saying, even if they're doing a really poor job of it. I am genuinely a pretty poor communicator. I mean, I can edit this, I can edit out the bits that don't make sense and try and make it flow for you, but you know, ask my partner. In conversation, I'll often leave out very key bits of information, expecting others to join the dots or understand what I'm talking about or like read my mind. So I really appreciate my partner being a good listener. Shout out to my partner. A good listener and a good decoder. Thirdly, it gives you peace. Your emotional energy is limited and precious. And finally, it helps you see the bigger picture. When you zoom out, most offenses look pretty small when you zoom all the way out in the context of your whole life or even a week in your life. Or even that we are on a rock hurtling through space at 67,000 miles an hour. So they don't know, I don't know. Taking offense is optional. It's okay to be misunderstood. Is it true? Is it kind? Is it necessary? See you in the next video.